Good evening, good evening. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another live Carolina Panthers talk video brought to you by Blitzball Champ Gaming here on the U to the Two. I'm your host, Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram. Tonight, we're going to go in. We're going to go in on the quarterback talk for the Carolina Panthers. They seem to be exploring their options. Had a meeting with Derek Carr. Had some press conferences. Scott Fitterer, Coach Wright. We're gonna go in. We're gonna go in tonight, just on the quarterback talk, because I'm hearing all sorts of stuff. Before we get started, of course, as usual, be sure to check out the link to Game Beauty for an impressive lineup of video game themed makeup and cosmetic products. And if you see something that interests you and want to make a purchase, be sure to use the promo code BlitzballChamp, all in caps, and you can get 10% off of your order. So use that coupon. Get yourself something good or a gift for somebody else. But either way, use that promo code. It'll come in handy. So, yeah. Quarterbacks. Who is going to be the guy? Who's going to be potentially the franchise quarterback for the Carolina Panthers? Well, there's a few things that stand out to me, just to kind of kick things off. There's a few things that stand out to me. Number one, both Scott Fitterer and Frank Wright expounded on, they had a good meeting with Derek Carr, said a lot of positive things. There was some emphasis on Derek Carr supposedly being in his prime. So seems like the meeting went well. I don't really know exactly if there's going to be a follow-up or what's to come from that. I know the combine just started the other day, so they got that rolling. Joe Valesco, welcome to the stream. And those that are just tuning in. But there was a lot of praise for Derek Carr, a lot of praise, which, as I said before, he's not a terrible quarterback. Another thing that stood out, Scott Fitterer specifically said he doesn't want to patch things up. He doesn't want to patch. He wants to fix things. He wants things to be fixed. And honestly, trying to go in on one of these supposed big name or whatnot veteran quarterbacks, I feel like is a patch job, not fixing the situation. I'm under the impression that if the idea is to fix and not patch, I feel like that is leading towards drafting a quarterback. I really feel like that's leaning towards drafting a quarterback. Because you have to think about it. Carolina has tried to patch with the last couple of seasons with the veteran quarterbacks that they've gone with. And we've seen how that's turned out. But overall, they're going to explore as many options as available on the quarterback position. That's what both very much exaggerate, exploring all options. Carolina Pride, welcome to the stream. Carolina Pratt says, from what I can see from the way they put together the staff and the way they are going through the quarterback search, they are being very deliberate and precise. I agree. And I really feel like with the monster coaching staff that they put together, I just find it hard to believe that they're not going to draft a quarterback. You know what I mean? Because with especially on offense, with how the coaching staff now looks on offense, because you have to think the only person that they kept with the offense on the coaching staff was the offensive line coach, James Campen. You know, everybody else is new. So I feel like the whole idea is going to be going out and getting their guy. And then, you know, looking at the ideas of veteran quarterbacks out there, I mean, like I said before, I truly believe Derek Carr would be way too expensive. I know supposedly the name Aaron Rodgers was mentioned, which you best believe that's going to be way too expensive. Carson Wentz, while he is a North Carolinian, born in Raleigh, the dude is injury prone. And I know there's been some mentioning of Jacoby Brissett as well, which, And then, of course, word is that they're exploring the idea of bringing back Sam Darnold, at least for perhaps another year, you know, maybe as the veteran presence, as potentially the backup role or whatnot, whichever. And the thing we have to remember with Matt Corral, the dude is coming off a Lisfranc foot injury. Those are not easy to come back from. So his health is definitely going to be a question mark. Now, you know, he's going to have a lot of time to, you know, return and rehab. But honestly, according to Frank Reich, he says he's not sure about Corral's timetable on the return. And he apparently didn't feel that he would make it back before the start of OTAs. So that could be an issue. Because I do feel like he deserves a chance to compete, but he needs to be healthy. Needs to be healthy in order to compete. Carolina Pride says, honestly, I'm all for Hendon Hooker in the second. We could draft the top positional value at any other position, not quarterback or edge. We could draft the best cornerback, wide receiver, linebacker, or my favorite tight end, Dalton Kincaid. We could do that. But I got to be honest with you, Carolina Pride. I really feel like deep down, because it's been so many years since, I think we need to get our guy at quarterback. I think how do I say it? I think we've messed around long enough. Now, granted, we built offensive line. Offensive line is relevant again, but I really feel like Carolina, they've messed around long enough, and I think they need to get their guy this time around. I really think they need to get their guy. So if there's somebody they have their eyes set on, especially in the draft, that they feel is the best option, they need to go for it. They need to go for it because we need to hit on this quarterback position. We've had enough misses for the last handful of seasons. We need to hit on this quarterback position. We need to hit on this quarterback position. It's been too long. Joe Valesco says, have you heard about Jalen Carter? Yes. And it's very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. That's gonna hurt. That's definitely gonna hurt. But yes, I did hear about that. And yeah, that's gonna hurt. Just and bad timing as well. But Carolina Pride says CJ Stroud would be that guy, but we have to trade up to the first pick. It's gonna be costly, but I'm all for that too. I mean, trade up to the first pick would, pretty much guarantee that. But I still think if they went as high as the third pick, I think they still have a chance. I think they still have a chance to get a CJ Stroud if they go up to number 3. One would guarantee it, but I think number 3 would definitely be a good chance and probably wouldn't take as much as if they were to, offer for that position versus offering to try to get the number 1 pick. But I could be wrong. But and a lot of folks say, don't go higher than pick 3. But I think it's going to be really interesting because, like I said, I mean, we're at number 9 right now. And with the teams before, I mean, it makes me wonder because I definitely feel the Texans are going to go quarterback. The Colts are going to go quarterback. The Seahawks could still go quarterback. I mean, even if they do decide to keep Geno Smith, Seahawks could still go quarterback. The Raiders need a quarterback. The Falcons just released Marcus Mariota, so I don't know if they're sold on Desmond Ridder or if they're going to build him up, but I mean, that could be a weird pick, but I think they're probably going to go edge. But I mean, there's a handful that I would think would be looking to get quarterback before getting to us. Carolina Pride says we are on the outside looking in. And another thing is, we're not just a quarterback away. That's another thing we have to remember. We are not just a quarterback away. I wish we were, but we're not just a quarterback away. But and see, me personally, as far as the draft, because like I said before, I don't really have a preference on quarterback. But that's just me. That's just me. But I don't have like a favorite. I know a lot of folks are saying CJ Stroud is the guy, and maybe so. But I can't say that I have a favorite. I can't say that I have a favorite, but I definitely do see us going quarterback. Now, currently on the Tankathon, they have Carolina going Miles Murphy, edge rusher out of Clemson. But as it was said, they're going to explore their options at the quarterback position. But my whole thing is being that it was said by Mr. Fitterer, we don't want to just patch things. We want to fix things. I feel like that's leaning towards drafting a quarterback. Joe Valesco says, I really like Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Yeah, from UCLA. Yeah, I remember you mentioning him. not too long ago. Somebody that I guess, I mean, is this somebody that could potentially be picked up in the later rounds? That I don't know. That I don't know. But according to the Tankathon, the main 5 quarterbacks that they have on here, based just on overall rank, is Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, Tanner McKee, and Hendon Hooker. Those are like the 5, or excuse me, that's 6. I can't count. 6 quarterbacks that they have at the top with overall ranking. So, I just really feel like we need to hit a home run with this. We need to hit a home run with this. And it's like I said before, with these veteran options, if it came down to the veteran options, if it wasn't for the injury prone, I would go Carson Wentz. If it wasn't for him being injury prone, that would be my one exception. Personally, that would be my one exception. Joe Valesco says we can pick him up in like round 4. Taking a quarterback at round 4, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. That's risky. But I mean, first round can be risky as well. But I mean, that's got to say something for him to potentially be available at number 4. Carolina Pride says Fitter also said this will be a sexy draft in terms of tight end and wide receiver, especially tight end. We really need a tight end. Agreed. Signing a Derek Carr would give us the freedom to do that if the price is right. He only missed 2 games in 9 years. Number one, yes, that is true. Derek Carr is typically one that has been pretty healthy throughout his career. That is true. And like I said, he's not a terrible quarterback. I mean, a 4-time Pro Bowler. He's not a terrible quarterback. But if the price is right, that's really the big thing, Carolina Pride, because I mean, word is his value is at least 30 to 35 mil. 30 to 35 mil. So that's the only thing with that. So we'll have to see what this potential price is, but word is supposedly looking for like a $35 million contract, but we'll see. And not only that, he could potentially be an NFL James Harden. I mean, somebody that can put up the numbers, but come playoff time, he disappears. Come clutch time, he disappears. So that's the only other thing with Derek Carr. Jeffrey Havoscos, welcome to the stream. I think first round picks are for day one starters. Trading up for a quarterback that needs a year of babysitting isn't worth it. Um, is there anybody in particular you feel falls in that category, Jeffrey? Anybody that falls in that category? Joe Valesco says you can get good quarterbacks in any round. It's possible, but as I said before, Joe Valesco, we need to hit a home run with this one. We need to hit a home run with this one. I'm just saying. You know it and I know it. We need to hit a home run with this one because we haven't done it in the last 5 seasons. Carolina Pride said he had Josh McDaniels this year. I can't fault anyone for having a bad year with that coach. Well, here's the thing. For somebody, I mean, we got to be honest here. We got to be honest here. For somebody that's a 4-time Pro Bowler, 0-1 in the playoffs. Multiple franchise records for the Raiders, and he's 0-1 in the postseason. I mean, that's gotta surprise y'all a little bit. A 4-time Pro Bowler and only played in 1 playoff game? There's something wrong with that. Y'all don't think there's something wrong with that? Maybe I'm crazy, but there's something wrong with that picture. There's something wrong with that picture. Josh Allen has been in less Pro Bowls, and the dude has a 4-4 record in the playoffs. Played in 8 playoff games. You know, and that's just an example. That's just an example. But I mean, there's something wrong with that picture. Carolina Pride says that's also in the AFC. They are loaded outside of Jalen Hurts, who is better than him in the NFC. Dude was in the same division as Mahomes. That's fine. That's cool and everything, but only 1 playoff game though. Carolina Pride, one playoff game. 1. That doesn't look right. That doesn't look right. That's an issue. That is almost kind of like you look at the Bengals when they had Marvin Lewis. Bengals could get to the playoffs, but could not win a playoff game. And they got there so many times, yet could not win a playoff game behind Marvin Lewis. Something eventually has to give. Something has to give. You know, I just find it really, really off for somebody to be a 4-time Pro Bowler and has only played in 1 playoff game. I mean, he had a chance to play in another one, but was injured. But which is unfortunate, which is very unfortunate. But it doesn't look right. It doesn't look right. And that's why I use James Harden as an example. James Harden can turn the switch on and drop all these points just back and forth. But yet, come playoff time, aside from the one finals appearance, he just disappears. Carolina Pride said he made it to the playoffs with an interim coach who was a special teams guy. When he had one coach for consecutive years, he threw for 4,500 yards, which is impressive. It's very impressive. That's great. That's cool. You know, that's great. But still, being that he's playing one of the most important position in football, he's playing the most important position in football. Broke so many records with the Raiders, but one playoff game. Like, I get what you're saying, Carolina Pride, but it still doesn't change the fact that it looks off. It looks off. It looks off. All that 0-1 in the playoffs, one playoff game, 4-time Pro Bowler. What's up, Fatnon? Welcome to the stream. It don't look right. I'm not discrediting anything you're saying, but it don't look right. It don't look right. And it's like I said about same thing like I was comparing with Josh Allen, 2-time Pro Bowler, hasn't been there as long as Derek Carr, and he's played in 8 playoff games. Just that's all I'm saying. It looks off. But that's why I say that Derek Carr could be the equivalent of a James Harden. Because the dude is not trash. The dude is not a trash quarterback. He's not a trash quarterback. But I wonder if this dude can shine in the clutch moments and in the crucial moments, i.e., playoffs. Oh. No problem, Fatnon. Thanks for stopping by. Carolina Pride says Kirk Cousins is James Harden. That's actually another good example. That's another good example. I mean, he's 1-3 in the playoffs. He's 1-3 in the playoffs. So that's actually a good example. Another good example, Carolina Pride. That you're right. That's another good example. I can agree with you on that. Yeah, I can definitely agree with you on that. Absolutely. And I know he's a little bit older than Derek Carr, but I have to agree with you. Definitely. But in all honesty, I mean, if it came down to it, and they just have to sign a veteran. I mean, and I know I'm gonna go ahead and say this because I know it's been brought up. I see it brought up here and there on social media. Cam Newton was mentioned. Cam Newton was mentioned because of the idea of new coaching staff, fresh start, which I will agree when he was brought to Carolina for the second stint, it was at a disadvantage. I will agree with that. You can't bring somebody in week 10 and expect them to have the offense down like that. That's an unrealistic expectation. So I will agree on that. But at the same time, the Cam Newton, that ship has sailed. That ship has sailed. We don't need to bring back Cam Newton for a third time. For a third time, nah. We got to let that ship sail. We got to let that ship sail. So just had to mention that because, you know, I've been seeing it here and there on social media mentioned about the idea of, hey, how about Cam Newton? Which, like I said, I love the guy. I love for what he's done for the Carolina Panthers organization, but that ship has sailed. Like to bring the same guy back a third time, that just nah. That no. But I was gonna say, and it looks like they're exploring the idea of bringing back Sam Darnold. But I mean to do that and then draft their quarterback. I mean, they at least have a veteran backup in that sense, and Corral and whoever we draft can compete. Jeffrey says, I agree with Carolina Pride about a tight end. Any rookie quarterback can be a bust. That's why I think we should keep all draft picks. Here's the thing. We haven't drafted, you know, especially when it comes to the first round quarterback. The last time we did that was Cam Newton in 2011. But here's the thing you got to remember, Jeffrey. I say again, we have had these veteran project quarterbacks the past 5 seasons, and it has not worked. We need to draft a guy. I think it's time we draft a guy. Not to mention, like I said, I really don't think it's going to take trading up a whole buttload of picks, especially to the number 3 spot. Number 1 spot, that's a different story. But for number 3, I really don't think it's going to take as much as we may think it would for that spot. But the thing is, Jeffrey, we need to hit a home run at quarterback. We haven't done that in years. Tight end, yes, we need a tight end. But what's more important? Yes, it's important that we get pieces to build around the quarterback. But Jeffrey, I ask again, when have we had a quarterback? Not since Cam Newton. Then he got hurt, and the rest was history. So we can't sleep on this quarterback position because we've suffered from it long enough. At least since 2017, which was the last time we went to the playoffs. We're not just a quarterback away, but it's still one of our biggest needs. It's one of our biggest needs. Because it's like I said before, with this coaching staff that's been put together, I really don't see them just getting anybody at quarterback. I think they're going to draft somebody and develop somebody with the juggernaut of a coaching staff as they got in the offseason. I don't think they're going to just settle for any quarterback, just for any quarterback. I don't see it. I just don't see it. Now, there's an article that I came across here on ESPN.com that I thought was kind of interesting. It's from Field Yates, and he's predicting the starting quarterback for all 32 NFL teams for 2023. And it's interesting. Tito Z, welcome to the stream. What's good, champ? I like the coaching staff, but the players must produce on the field. Not only must they produce on the field, but also got to be in the right positions as well. So execution, yes, highly agree. Being in the right positions and, getting the right guys. But yes, I do agree. So here's what this says. So for the Cardinals, of course, Kyler Murray makes sense. For the Falcons, Desmond Ridder, which I could see that happening, especially being that they just let go of Marcus Mariota. But there's something to think about. Supposedly, the Falcons have the second most cap space. You think the Falcons might try to make a gargantuan play for Lamar Jackson? Just something to think about. Just something to think about. You think the Falcons might make a monster play and try to get Lamar Jackson? They got a buttload of cap space. I'm just saying they got a good amount of cap space. But anyway, Baltimore Ravens, they project Lamar Jackson, which I do believe is their priority to work out a new deal for him. But something tells me he might end up getting franchise tagged. But we'll see. I got a feeling he probably will be, but we'll see. Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, obviously. Chicago Bears, Justin Fields, obviously. Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow, obviously. Cleveland Browns, Deshaun Watson, ditto. Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott, ditto. Denver Broncos, Russell Wilson, of course. Detroit Lions, Jared Goff. Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, I mean, there has been a little bitty, teeny, tiny talk about the idea of an Aaron Rodgers trade, but honestly, I don't see him going anywhere else personally. I think he's going to stay right there with Green Bay. So I would have to agree. Jacksonville Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence makes sense, especially after he just had his first playoff series and first playoff win. Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, of course. Chargers, Justin Herbert, of course. The Rams, Matthew Stafford. The Dolphins, Tua Tagovailoa. Although I am starting to wonder if Tua might end up going on the list of being injury prone. That's the only thing I can say about Tua. Dude is good, but he's dealt with a barrage of injuries. So, yeah. The Vikings, Kirk Cousins. He'll probably get extended. The Patriots, Mac Jones, makes sense. The Giants, Daniel Jones. I mean, after they just went to the playoffs and the Giants won Coach of the Year, I could definitely see that. The Eagles, Jalen Hurts, obviously. The Steelers, Kenny Pickett. The Niners says Trey Lance / Brock Purdy. You know what? That actually makes sense. That actually makes sense. I can understand why they worded the way that it was worded. Trey Lance / Brock Purdy, because both have kind of dealt with some injury stuff. But yeah, we'll see. Seahawks, Geno Smith, which could either get extended or they could tag him. I mean, he had best season of his career, so I could see them taking an initiative to keeping him. For the Titans, Ryan Tannehill. But it really makes me wonder how much Tannehill has left, because he's taken a beating as well. But ever since he's come to the Titans, he has become a better quarterback. So I will say that about Ryan Tannehill. The Buccaneers, Kyle Trask, which, I mean, makes sense. And, the Bucs have cap space issues. So, yeah, they probably are going to roll with Kyle Trask. The Washington Commanders, Sam Howell. I mean, they did just let go of Carson Wentz. So, I mean, they might draft somebody in the later round to compete with Sam Howell, but yeah. And for the Carolina Panthers, they have Derek Carr listed. And here's what they say specifically about the Panthers and projected starter Derek Carr. It says the Panthers have tried to figure out the quarterback position for multiple years now, but nothing has struck since the first Cam Newton era in Carolina concluded after the 2019 season. Sam Darnold flashed at the end of last season, but hasn't been consistent over his career. Carr would represent the team's most proven option since then and would immediately stabilize the signal caller position under Coach Frank Reich. Carr's skill set is clear, and he's the best free agent quarterback available this offseason. He also would make Carolina the immediate favorite in a wide-open NFC South. While I don't have anything against, those words, we have to ask ourselves, what do we really want? Do we want just a championship, just go in and, hey, we finally won a championship, great. Or do we want a franchise? Do we want a dynasty? Do we want something like what the Chiefs had? Do we want something like the Steelers have had for so many years? Do we want something like what the Cowboys had back in the Aikman, Emmitt Smith era? You know what I mean? Like, do we want what the Patriots had for so many years? We want a dynasty. Who wants a dynasty? I want a dynasty. I mean, a championship, that's great. We still haven't gotten one. Would love to have one. But I know we ain't trying to settle with just one championship. Come on now. I want a dynasty. I don't know about y'all. I don't know about the rest of the Keep Pounding Nation, but I want a Carolina Panthers dynasty. I want us to win multiple championships. I would love to see us at least three-peat. At least once. I want a dynasty. I don't know about y'all, but I want a dynasty. I mean, shoot, as a Dallas Mavericks fan, I was happy when we won a championship, but I want more. I want more. Shoot, Jordan got 6. Jordan got 2 3-peats. Shoot. I want a Carolina Panthers dynasty. That's what I want. I want the Carolina Panthers to be the biggest threat of not just the NFC South, but the NFC Conference for years to come. That's what I want to see. We haven't been a threat in years. That needs to change. I want us to be a threat again. I miss when we were a threat. Jeffrey says, if I had to pick this year, Anthony Richardson, AR-15, or Hooker in the second, where they belong, but I think they're gone. Let me see actually where they're listed on the mock draft on Tankathon. I know they have Richardson in the first round. Hooker could go in. Hooker could definitely fall to the second, possibly. But like I said, there's a handful of teams that need quarterbacks. There's a decent handful of teams that need quarterbacks. So we'll have to see what happens. Carolina Pride says dynasties aren't built overnight. I can see CJ taking us to the NFC Championship year one, trade the picks and go get them now. I agree. Definitely not built overnight. They need to start somewhere, but yes, definitely not built overnight. I agree. But my question is, when we going to get started? When we going to get started? That's really what I want to know. When are we going to get started? The New Orleans Saints projected starter Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield, projected starter for the Saints. What? Hold on, I gotta read what this says. The Saints were the first known car suitor, hosting him on his lone visit before his release from Las Vegas. That visit was a strong enough indication of interest, but since a trade didn't materialize, competition for car services come into play. Though he has had plenty of rough stretches over his career, Baker Mayfield showed well in a small sample size with the Rams late last season. He's an imperfect player, but I truly believe quarterback context matters. When put in a system with capable coaching, competent playmakers, and savvy game planning, Mayfield can help you win. Jameis Winston is under contract, but he was replaced by Andy Dalton, who is now a free agent. Interesting. Interesting. Very interesting. Joe Valesco says, this is my ideal draft. Anthony Richardson or any quarterback, and sign Matt Ryan, a backup to beat Matt. Really, dude? Okay, you just made that up. You just made that up. No, Joe Valesco, you capping. You're capping. You just made that up. All this time that we have talked, and you've mentioned so many quarterbacks, but now all of a sudden you mentioned Matt Ryan. Really? Really, Joe Valesco? Matt Ryan. Really? Really? Come on now. Come on now. You're reaching. You're reaching. Come on now. Come on now. All those times before, and now you say Matt Ryan? No. As a backup quarterback, doesn't matter. No. No. You're reaching. Yeah, you're reaching. Dude hasn't had a winning season since 2017. You're reaching. Carolina Pride says trade 3 first and 2/3 to get CJ. I would not be mad at that. We would have extra cap space to build our dynasty. Now, are you saying trade 3 first and 2/3 to get the number 1 pick the Bears have to get them? I assume that's what you mean. Because I mean, 3 first and 2/3. Ooh, that's a lot. That is a lot, especially if we're talking about specifically the number 1 pick, the number 1 pick overall. Whew. Not only that, hold up. Let me see something right quick. Oh, okay, Carolina Pride. Gotcha. That's a lot. That is a lot. That's a lot. Not to mention Joe Valesco, as much as Matt Ryan was getting paid to be a backup. I don't know about that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't. I don't know about that. Which I get it. Somebody that was a former MVP, became MVP after Cam Newton, but still up there in age. How about Cooper Rush? Really? Joe Valesco, come on, dude. Come on, dude. Cooper Rush, really? Dude only has six games as a starter under his belt. It's not a whole lot. I mean, my thing is Joe Valesco. Like, you're willing to go Cooper Rush, but not willing to go Sam Darnold. Like, I don't understand that. But whichever. Whichever. Jeffrey says, who would you draft? Quarterback. I don't have a preference because, like I said, I don't have a favorite quarterback in the draft or whatnot. But I would draft a quarterback because we need to develop somebody. Because, like I said, Jeffrey, we need to hit a home run at the quarterback position, and we need to develop somebody. Need to develop and build a franchise quarterback. It's time. We haven't done it since Cam Newton 2011. We long overdue. We're long overdue. I mean, we got needs. We definitely got multiple needs, but we got to ask ourselves, what's the top priority? What is really the top priority position? I mean, we got to ask ourselves that. Will Anderson would be nice, but like I said, as a fan base, we got to ask ourselves, what's the top priority position? And it's a position that we have missed the mark on for so many seasons in a row. My thing is this. I think we could all agree that for the longest time, what did we campaign for the longest time? Fix the offensive line. That was probably one of the most popular takes among the Carolina Panther fan base, among the Keep Pounding Nation. Fix the offensive line. We suffered long enough. What did they end up doing? They started building an offensive line. You know, we've taken a little bit of hits near the end of the season, but the offensive line has been built, and it has done well this season. It's time to do the same for the quarterback position. We built a nice offensive line that has potential to grow and improve. Did well, but plenty of room to grow and improve. You know, they went out and got that. We need to go out and get a quarterback. We need to do that. Y'all have suffered. I have suffered long enough. We've had so many project veterans, no stability at quarterback. We've had no stability at quarterback for the last number of seasons, at least a good 4 or 5 seasons. Not to mention last year, we went through 4. We went through 4 last season. We can't forget that. We went through 4. And that was scary. That was scary because, as crazy as that sounds, we were actually in playoff contention momentarily until we screwed it all up. But that's the crazy thing about it. Went through 4 quarterbacks last season. And then, of course, one season we went through 3. Cam Newton, Kyle Allen, what's his face? Will Greer. Shoot, 3 in that season. So, I mean, I'm just saying, we need to fix that. We need to seriously fix that position. It needs to be fixed, as was said in the press conference. Fixed. Not patched, but fixed. Fixed. Not patched. Patch is temporary. Patch is temporary. Fixing is long term. There's a difference. There is a difference. Oh, let me go through the rest of this list. New York Jets projected starter Jimmy Garoppolo. That's interesting. Jimmy Garoppolo to the Jets. Ooh, it's kind of sad that they're giving up on Zach Wilson. But, I mean, struggled through 2 seasons and then got benched. So, I don't know. I guess they've given up on Zach Wilson. Oof. The Houston Texans projected starter CJ Stroud. I mean, they got the number 2 pick. And Davis Mills doesn't seem to be the long-term answer. And being that the Bears are not planning on drafting a quarterback and with that first-round pick, the Texans are going to have dibs. They're going to have dibs. And I highly doubt the Texans are going to want to move down to the number 9 pick. So, I'm just saying. The Colts projected starter Bryce Young. Ooh. And that's another team that's going to be looking to get a quarterback. Like as in Matt Ryan getting up there in age. Dude is 37, will be 38 in May. He's getting up there in age. The Raiders projected starter Will Levis. Oh, they let go of Derek Carr, so they're looking for a quarterback. So doesn't surprise me. And yeah, that's all the teams. That's all the teams. So yeah. We need to find some stability with that quarterback position. We need to find stability. Long-term option. Although here's another article on here. Might as well go through. Carolina Pride says if Hendon Hooker never got injured, he would be quarterback number 3, which is a fair point. You feel that it may have damaged his stock a little bit, Carolina Pride? So there's this other article on ESPN.com answering the big NFL draft questions for teams with the top 10 picks, which we qualify. And this is an interesting discussion here. This is really interesting. So, of course, it starts off with the Chicago Bears, who have the number 1 overall pick. And it says, taking the trade back possibility out of it, does Will Anderson Jr. or Jalen Carter fit better with the Bears' defensive plans? It is also mentioned that they could replace Khalil Mack at the edge with a Will Anderson Jr. But, with the arrest warrants coming up for Jalen Carter, I mean, Chicago's going to be monitoring that situation, but that's got to hurt. That's got to really hurt. But Will Anderson Jr. would be a big boost for Chicago. For the Texans, the Texans have 2 picks, the 2nd and the 12th. The 2nd and the 12th for the Texans. Carolina Pride says Jalen Carter draft stock just plummeted. He might not get drafted, which is a good point. That happening and the timing behind that. Woo! And the word is that I think one of them was a misdemeanor. I don't know about the other one, but it's reckless driving and racing, and I think one of them is a misdemeanor, but I could be wrong. The Texans, number 2 and 12 overall. How can the Texans set up whichever quarterback they draft for success? I mean, they're gonna get first dibs at quarterback. So I mean, Carolina Pride says that might cause Chicago to not trade back either. That's a fair point. I think they'll continue to entertain the idea, but that it is very possible that they may not trade back and just go ahead and get their guy. But at least we know it's not going to be quarterback. So at least we know that. And the thing with the Texans, they still have the situation with Brandon Cooks, who demanded a trade. So, I mean, the Texans could end up getting not only a quarterback, but they could also get a receiver. Could get a receiver, with that number 2 and number 12 pick. So, Houston Texans are in pretty good position there. The Cardinals with that number 3 draft pick. It says here it's safe to assume that their GM, Monty Austinfort, and the Cardinals will go with the best defender on their board here. Which, I mean, makes sense. The possibility of losing Zach Allen and also the J.J. Watt retirement makes sense. Best defender. But if Chicago gets Will Anderson Jr., they could end up going Tyree Wilson or Miles Murphy. But I don't know. The Colts. For the Colts, this is kind of interesting. It says, what's your early gut feeling on the likelihood that the Colts either A, stay at home at number 4 and draft a quarterback, B, trade up to get a quarterback, or C, go a whole different route? I mean, unless they see somebody that they just absolutely like, the only reason I could see the Colts move up to get a quarterback is if after they've done their homework and they see somebody that they just have to get, then I could see them trading up to get, the quarterback that they want. But it's also going to depend on, their evaluation and what they see. So that's the way I see that. The Seahawks, they have the number 5 and number 20 overall picks, so 2 in the first round. Seattle is one of 5 teams with 2 first-round picks. How would its ideal first-round play out in April? So if we were to assume they re-sign Geno Smith, multi-year extension or franchise tag him and whatnot, then they could pretty much go the whole route of improving their front 7. I mean, like I said, Geno Smith, still in his early 30s, and he had his best season of his career last season. So, I mean, and they could also trade back that number 20th pick as well. So we'll have to see. And the Lions, another team that has 2 picks in the first round, number 6 and number 18. And the main question with them is, will they use their first round picks on defense? I mean, I think it's safe to say that they're sticking with Jared Goff. And remember, they did get Aiden Hutchinson in last year's draft. So, I mean, they could continue to strengthen their defense. I mean, yeah, I could see them strengthening their defense. As a matter of fact, it's funny you say that, Carolina Pride. Lions need cornerback bad. And this article, it actually specifies, defensive end and cornerback. So, yeah, you hit it right on the money. Number 7 goes to the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, with the Raiders, one of the things that was said is it's going to depend on if they address the quarterback situation in free agency or not. So it says here that it's going to depend on whether the GM, Dave Ziegler, and coach Josh McDaniels favor need or best available player. A veteran quarterback could join the Raiders with the primary condition of the Raiders upgrading the offensive line. That means a plug-and-play offensive tackle would be in play. So maybe probably Skoronski they could go for. Otherwise, it's all defense, which they could go with another pass rusher or a shutdown cornerback. Carolina Pride says, for some reason, I feel like the Raiders will sign Jimmy Garoppolo. McDaniels had him in the past, which is true. That would be interesting. Jimmy G in the black and silver. But see, Jimmy Garoppolo is another one I feel like when he plays, he's great, but his body has taken a beating. He's another one that's injury prone. So that's the only thing with Jimmy G. I mean, when he plays well, but he's taken a lot of punishment. Number 8, the Atlanta Falcons. Now, this one's interesting. It says, are the Falcons confident enough in Desmond Ridder to pass on a quarterback if one of the top guys fall to them at number 8? Ooh. It says here, who can say with extreme confidence right now whether Levis or Richardson is better than Ridder, last year's 3rd round pick? If younger Stroud were somehow available at number 8, which I doubt it, it would certainly be worth a conversation to have inside the Atlanta draft room. But apparently they like Desmond Ridder's work ethic and improvement, which he threw 2 touchdown passes and 0 interceptions in 4 games. But the thing is, Atlanta has big needs on defense and offensive line. So that's a fair assessment. But don't forget, I also mentioned that word is they do supposedly have the cap space that they could pull a monster move and maybe try to go after a Lamar Jackson, which, Carolina says, what did San Francisco trade for Trey Lance? If we trade to 3, would it be something similar? Wait, if we hold on. Let me. If we are you saying if we tried to trade for Trey Lance? I'm a little confused. Can you elaborate? Oh, you mean what did they trade for to move up to the 3rd spot? Oh, if we trade for pick 3. Let me see something. So the picks that we have. So we have San Francisco's 2nd round pick number 62, 3rd round pick number 94, and 4th round pick number 133. Those are the picks that we have that we got from San Francisco. So I wonder though. Which San Francisco traded up to get Lance. Our trade to 3 would be very. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, and like I said, I could definitely see the idea of them trading up to number 3 to get their guy, or at least one of the available quarterbacks, because I think the Texans does pick one, or Texans get dibs. Kevin, welcome to the stream. Hello, how are you doing? I'm doing great. Hope you are too. And what quarterback do you think we will get? Specifically, I think one of the ones in the draft. Do I have a favorite? Nah, I don't have a favorite out of the draft, to be honest with you. I know a lot of folks are saying CJ Stroud is the man, but I've been hearing a lot of talk about Bryce Young, as well as Hendon Hooker and Anthony Richardson and Will Levis. So, I can't say that I have a preference, to be honest with you. I need to do more homework on them, but right now I can't say that I have a preference. But I think definitely quarterback from the draft. Do I think Derek Carr? Nah, I don't think so. I know talks have gone well. The meeting has gone well, but I think he's going to cost too much. Okay. Carolina Panthers, number 9 overall pick. It says, could Carolina spend big on a quarterback in free agency and draft one here? According to David Newton, the answer is no. Spending big on a quarterback in free agency is almost out of the question with the team's salary cap situation. The Panthers' cap room currently ranks in the lower half of the league. In all likelihood, they will sign a veteran who has the potential to be a bridge at a backup price. And don't be surprised if the Panthers trade up into the top 3 or 4 picks to get their choice of quarterback. GM Scott Fitterer has been adamant in the past that the best long-term solution for building a championship caliber roster is with a quarterback on a rookie deal. Well, that's what David Newton says. Carolina Pride says San Francisco moved from the number 12 position to the number 3 for Lance, and it cost 2 number 1 picks in a 3rd round. Whew. Well, so So if we were to do the same, then it would have to be our 9 pick, a first round from next year, and a third round. Maybe one of the third rounds this year. I guess that's what it would come down to, Carolina Pride. If I'm in the same boat as you, if I'm following you correctly. But to be honest, I have to say what David Newton's saying. I mean, he makes a good point. I mean, and that's the thing that I emphasize about, a lot of ideas behind some of these quarterbacks like a Carson Wentz or a Derek Carr is that they would cost too much. And, the Carolina salary cap situation, they have to really do a lot of work to fix this salary cap situation. I mean, it's in the lower half of the league. But the idea of signing a veteran who has the potential to be a bridge at a backup price. And it's like I said about Derek Carr. I just don't see Derek Carr signing to be a backup. Not only would he cost too much, Derek Carr ain't trying to be no backup. He ain't trying to be no backup. Nor would Carson Wentz. Carolina Pride says Jacoby Brissett looked good under Reich and Indy. Well, and that was another name that was mentioned. That was another name that was mentioned. And even though he, isn't from North Carolina, he did go play at NC State for a couple of years. Jacoby Brissett. I mean, to be fair, his best season was with Indy. Best season was with Indy. But that was back in 2019. So it's been a while. It's been a while. He did okay. He did a little something. But the issue now with Cleveland, 4-7. 11 starts, 4-7. Ugh. But how old is Jacoby Brissett? 30? Oh, he just turned 30. Well, probably wouldn't cost a lot. I give you that. It probably wouldn't cost a lot. And he has, has experience playing under Frank Reich. I just, I don't know. I don't know. I know that name was mentioned, but Joe Valesco says, I would rather have Cooper Rush than Sam Darnold. I feel you, but you're talking about somebody that's only started 6 games in his NFL career. 6 games, I mean, 8 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. What are you really going off of, Joe Valesco? That's kind of a, you know what I mean? Like, but I guess you did say for backup. I guess you did say for backup, but I just feel like, you know, but I don't know. Maybe for backup, but not to mention, Sam Darnold, younger. But I don't know. What do y'all say? How do y'all feel about the idea of Cooper Rush coming to Carolina? Because really, the big main difference is experience factor. But that's pretty much it. I mean, in the 6 starts last season, he did finish 4-2, which was probably his first positive in a long time. But gotta at least give him the experience edge. I mean, experience and age edge. But like I said, that's not saying a whole lot. Compared to the rest of Sam Darnold's career, it's not saying a whole lot. But I don't know, just off the top of my head, Cooper Rush isn't somebody that just screams, "Oh my God, we got to get him." It just doesn't scream that to me. Like, because we've kind of fallen into that trap once before with Teddy Bridgewater. You remember that, Joe Valesco? We fell into that similar trap with Teddy Bridgewater. Because remember, he came in for Drew Brees and went, what, 5-0 as a starter? And then we got Teddy Bridgewater, and what happened? Don't fall for it, Joe Valesco. Don't fall for it. We've fallen into that trap once before. You remember? You remember? Don't fall for it, bro. But in all honesty, nothing really stands out to me about Cooper Rush. Nothing stands out to me about Cooper Rush. Just, in all seriousness. Carolina Pride says, what if Carr took a cheaper deal to play under the staff? I would be shocked if he actually considered a cheaper deal, being that the word is that he wanted at least 35 mil. Not to mention, we're also talking about somebody that's a 4-time Pro Bowler. So I don't know. I don't know. But the word is he wanted at least 35 mil. But supposedly the word is that they're going to I guess talk with him again soon. I guess they're going to talk with him again soon. So we'll see. Now, what I will say is, to be fair, I will be fair about something. Unfortunately, the Raiders teams that Derek Carr has played on, defense has been sus. Defense has been sus, which, like I said, you have to account the record for that, because the way the records that they've had is not solely on Derek Carr, because Derek Carr can only play on one side of the ball. I mean, it is a team sport. But Carolina Price says pay him like 25 mil with a 10 mil Super Bowl incentive. For how many years? How many years? Three years? Whew. Oh man, I gotta be honest with you, Carolina Pride. I will be very shocked if he takes that. I will be very shocked. I will be extremely shocked if he takes that. I mean, when you think about it, from 2017 to 2022, he had an average $25 million salary. And then when he did the contract 2022 to 2025, he had a $40,500,000 average salary. So, I mean, the signing bonus was a little less at the time compared to that first extension, that first 5 years. But, man. I will be very shocked if he were to take that deal. Yeah, I would be extremely shocked if he took that deal. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I mean, we've seen crazy stuff happen all the time. So, I mean, it's not impossible. It's not impossible, but just it seems very difficult. But I mean, the meeting, and they're liking what they see, but I don't know. Joe Velasco says, imagine Jalen Ramsey, J.C. Horn, and Dante Jackson and Jeremy Chin. Here's the thing. I like Dante Jackson, but the dude is injury prone. Jeremy Chin, I still wonder if he is better moving back to linebacker or staying at safety. He's played his best at linebacker where he was at his rookie season. J.C. Horn, love him, but he's another one we have to start keeping an eye out on the possible injury-prone radar. So I get what you're saying, Joe Valesco, but it could be hit or miss. It could be hit or miss. Because Dante Jackson, while he has been able to make plays, I mean, the dude has 14 interceptions, but number one, he's injury prone. Number two, he gets beat deep a lot. So that's the only thing. Carolina Pride says Jalen Ramsey also said if traded, he would want a new deal. I would love Ramsey. Yeah, I was thinking he would probably want a new deal for sure. But I mean, I just really feel like with the asking price of 35 plus million and with our cap situation, oh man, they would have to make some sort of big ditch effort to restructure some contracts, cut some folks to see, I mean, potentially, 50 million saved in cap, but they'd have to get to work on that ASAP. Joe Valesco says, is CJ Henderson a free agent? No, he has another year. He has another year. He has another year. Carolina Pride says reworking Shaq and Taylor Moton would get us to 40 mil instantly. Well, Dave, let's see. Honestly, I think they should probably restructure. Well, they restructured Austin Corbett's already, so they restructured him. I would say restructure Shaq for sure. What about restructuring DJ Moore's contract, Carolina Pride? How would you feel about restructuring his contract? Because if I remember correctly, I think Taylor Moton has been through a contract restructure already. But what about DJ Moore instead? Joe Valesco, trade CJ Henderson for who? For what? We're also going to need depth at the secondary position. We also are going to need depth. Carolina Pride says he will probably be the first one. Oh, DJ Moore? Yeah. Well, I believe they're already starting talks with Shaq about restructuring his. Oh, yeah, and don't forget, I think they're going to end up cutting Pat Elflein and also Damian Wilson as well. But I mean, there's a good number of folks that would pay 35 plus million for a Derek Carr. Some say yes, some say no. Joe Valesco says like a 6th round pick. Dang. Ouch. But like I said, we're still going to need some depth at that secondary position. So that's the only thing. That's the only thing with that. Carolina Pride says Ian Thomas has got to go. That's $4 million. And he was another one that got an extension. So Carolina Pride, I'm kind of at a crossroads. I'm kind of at a crossroads with Ian Thomas. On one end, I can understand the idea of getting rid of him. On another hand, we have to ask ourselves, has he really had opportunities? Because one thing that's definitely set him back, one was coaching. 2, I mean, the dude only had he had the most targets in his career his rookie season. Most catches his rookie season, which was 2018. I mean, hasn't really had a lot of targets, less than 30. And another thing we have to remember, what has he been used the most in? The running game. He's been used the most in the running game. So, I mean, I think it's a fair argument whether he really has gotten enough opportunities or not. Because I'm sorry, but 30 targets in a season, that's not a lot of targets. And remember, we had Ben McAdoo, who supposedly was supposed to emphasize the use of tight ends. I'm sorry, but 30 targets, that's not a lot in a season. That's not a lot. So I can see both sides of it. I mean, I'm okay with keeping them. I'm okay with getting rid of them. But I think it is a fair argument as to whether he's been given fair chances, especially after his rookie year. But Ian Thomas was drafted as a 4th round pick, and 5 years later still playing like a 4th round pick. Plus, he's slow. But like I said, what has he been used the most in? The run game. So, and then you have to think the way this offensive line got built, what ended up shining last season? The run game. So, I mean, and even last season was a good example. I mean, let's keep it real. We sucked in the passing game. We were in low rankings in the passing game across the board. So, I mean, that plus, Ben McAdoo with the play calling, plus, we took a chance on Baker Mayfield. PJ Walker was up and down. Sam Darnold, I mean, had some moments, but, so, I mean, I don't know. I get it, but I really don't think he's had a lot of opportunities. I really don't. Not since his rookie year. Because like I said, 39 targets in a season, that's not a lot for a tight end. That's not a lot. Now, I do agree that we definitely haven't had a real deal tight end since Greg Olsen. Now, that is 1,000,000% true. We have yet to get another Mr. Reliable since Greg Olsen. I mean, that's obvious. But, I mean, I like Tommy Tremble. I hope Tommy Tremble can break out. But Tommy Tremble is another one I don't think really got much opportunities. I mean, 35 targets in his rookie year, 32 last season. I mean, it's not a lot. It's not a lot. Especially supposedly, playing with Ben McAdoo, who's supposed to emphasize tight ends. Well, in the run game, sure, but I don't know. If Bijan Robinson fell in the second round, do we trade up and draft him? Bijan Robinson. I'm trying to figure out who that is. Oh, the running back? Running back, I really... Personally, I think we re-sign Deontay Foreman. I think we're fine at running back, Joe Valesco. I really don't think that's a priority. Because you got to remember, we still have Chuba Hubbard on his rookie deal. We still have Raheem Blackshear, which I just recently found out. We still have Raheem Blackshear. I think we re-signed Deontay Foreman. I think we're fine at the running back position. I really don't think drafting a running back is a priority. So, Joe Valesca, I wouldn't. Carolina Price says Hayden Hurst went to South Carolina. Hayden Hurst, that's another familiar name. Oh yeah, that's right, with the Bengals. And see, you gotta see the big difference with Hayden Hurst. I mean, shoot, 88 targets with the Falcons in 2020, 68 with the Bengals last season. Now that's what I'm talking about. Which, of course, is a much better tight end. He's a much better tight end. But I mean, those are a lot of targets. Those are a lot of targets. Vietnam says Ian Thomas was a flat out bust. He should have never been re-signed. While I do agree, the extension was a little over the top. I agree that the extension was a little over the top. And like I said, I'm okay keeping him. I'm okay with them getting rid of him. But I think it is a fair argument of whether he has been used correctly. Because you have to also remember, Vietnam, look at how he has been used after his rookie year in the run game, especially the last two seasons. And I say that because look at how many times he's been targeted. Not to mention last season, how bad we were in the passing game. So while you make a Well, you make a good point as far as, the re-signing, the extension he got. I thought it was a little too much. I agree. But I don't think it's fair to say that he's had plenty of opportunities when the offense that he's been used in has been more so him in the run. He's back. Who's back? I guess he's talking about Hayden Hurst. Fandom says, I don't see us trading up for Robinson because we don't have any extra picks if we trade up for a quarterback. And like I said, I think we re-signed Deonta Foreman. I think the running back room is fine, especially with we still got Raheem Blackshear and we still have Chuba Hubbard on his rookie deal. Fandom says they used Ian like that because that's all he was good at. No, I disagree. I disagree because he showed flashes in the passing game. Look at his rookie year. He did show flashes in the receiving game, but you have to also look back at the play calling within the last 2 seasons. Now, like I said, him nor Trimble don't compare at all to Greg Olsen. We have yet to have a Greg Olsen. That is obvious. That is obvious. Oh, talking about Vietnam. Oh, gotcha. I was confused. Gotcha. I was confused. Thank you for clarifying. If he was a Pro Bowl player, then the staff would have made plays for him. How can he be a Pro Bowl player and not given the opportunities? Like I said, 30 targets is a low number in a season, not to mention. Thank you, Quell Davis. Thank you. That's the point that I've been trying to make. Play calling wasn't tight and friendly. Like how can you make the plays when you're not put in position to make plays? You can't make plays if you're not put into position to make plays or called upon. And I don't believe Ian Thomas since his rookie year, I don't think he's had much opportunities since his rookie year. And I think the play calling and the coaching have had a big percentage to do with that. Now, like I said, I definitely don't think he's a Greg Olsen. I don't even think Tommy Trimble's a Greg Olsen. We may not see that for a while. We may not see that for a while. But let me repeat what Quell Davis said, and please forgive me if I butchered your name. Play calling wasn't tight and friendly. Sam Darnold lost Dan Arnold, his favorite target. We were lost. That's another good point. Y'all remember Dan Arnold? He made some plays while we had him. Then we let him go, which I believe we traded him, which ended up getting, I think it was what led to us getting C.J. Henderson eventually, I think. But I think talent-wise, I think it still remains to be seen. Now, I will say that the door, little by little, may be closing on Ian Thomas. I think the door may be closing, and I think the extension was a little bit much. But I think it's a fair argument. I don't think he's gotten enough chances, especially within the offense and the play calling. Joe Velasco says, I really like the Georgia tight ends. Phantom says, you have to be put into good position, but he did have some drops at crucial times. I mean, they all did. I mean, you have to also keep in mind where we ranked in the passing game, especially last season. We were pretty low in the passing game. And I really hope that gets turned around like that. That really needs to get turned around. Quell Davis, thank you for the sub. I appreciate it. The passing game is really one area that definitely needs to turn around. because our passing game last season was blah. Like the fact that we still had a shot at the playoffs is crazy. Is crazy. Last I would guess 30 or 31st. Close. Close. Definitely bottom tier. Definitely bottom tier. Yeah, definitely bottom tier. I mean, the run game, completely different story. But, we got to look at a lot of things. The play calling, how the O-line was built, who we had running the ball. So it's one area that needs a complete turnaround. Hey, Mr. Gemini, welcome to the stream. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. But yeah, I mean, we had Ben McAdoo that was supposed to emphasize the use of tight ends, and that did not work out. That did not work out one bit. And it's a bummer because, Tommy Tremble, I like Tommy Tremble. I do. And Ian Thomas, what few plays he's made, I mean, he's made some good ones. I mean, the 19-yard strike in that Vikings game 2 seasons ago, shoot. Which I believe was like on a 4th and long. Shoot. That was impressive. But yeah, we definitely could use a Mr. Reliable at tight end. Like badly. Badly. It's like when Greg Olsen left, it just all went. And you look at what Cam Newton really, when it came to the passing game, I mean, he got it to the receivers, but who was his main target? Greg Olsen. So yeah, we definitely need a Greg Olsen like. Shoot, I would even settle for an Ed Dixon like tight end, because Ed Dixon, he played well alongside Greg Olsen. Vietnam says, who's the top wide receiver in the draft this year? We might be able to get him. What do you think? You know what? Let's take a look at some wide receivers. Let's take a look at some wide receivers. According to Tankathon, there's a number of different names, but Tankathon has Quentin Johnston from TCU at the top, but there's other names like Jackson Smith, Jigba, Jalen Hyatt. I saw his highlight reel. Jalen Hyatt is a name I think to definitely look out for, who's potentially a deep threat. But I'd have to say Quentin Johnston is a name. Zay Flowers from Boston College. Jalen Hyatt from Tennessee are definitely names that jump off the list. Jordan Addison out of USC. And Quentin Johnston, he's a big dude, 6'4", 215. I mean, shoot. Big guys. Joe Valesco says Mike Gesicki he's going to be a free agent. Oh yeah, I do remember that. Phantom says, I like Gesicki and Schultz. Jigba's a beast, so is Zay Flowers. Steve Smith said that Johnston disappeared a lot on tape. Oh, interesting. Okay. Carolina Pride says Zay Flowers is a savage, so is Jigba. Okay, so a lot of y'all got your eyes on Zay Flowers and Jackson Smith Jigba. Okay. Let me look up some more detail. Let me look at some more detail. Jackson Smith Jigba. Okay. Interesting. Entering the draft as a junior. Okay. Well, 2021 season, 95 catches, 1,606 yards, and 9 touchdowns. Was there a reason why he doesn't have much stats in 2022? What's up with that? Oh, because he got injured. Ugh. Oh. Oh. Gotcha. Oof. Oof. Well, add injury, something he can bounce back from. Ooh, now looking at this Zay Flowers looks like he's improved since 2019, one season after the other. Okay, 78 catches, 1,077 yards, 12 touchdowns, and last season. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Most Ohio State wide receivers are good anyway. You put Jigba in the slot here, our wide receiver core is instantly top 10. Ooh, that's bold. Boyette 2. Kayshawn Boyette, wide receiver out of LSU. Okay. Interesting. That might make him drop to third and we can get him. Jigba. Zay Flowers is Allen Iverson on the football field. Interesting. Very interesting. So according to the Tankathon mock draft, they actually may have Quentin Johnston going to the Texans with their 12th round pick. Jordan Addison to the Jaguars in the 25th pick. Actually, speaking of which, they have Carolina Panthers going Zay Flowers in the second round with that 40 pick. Huh. Okay. Interesting. Although he's a little small, 5'10", 172 pounds, but as you said, the Allen Iverson. So he's a speed demon. Well, then again, what about putting him in the slot? Zay Flowers in the slot? What about putting him in the slot? Mel Kiper says that Flowers is the man. Oh, okay. The combine will change all of that if they run the 40-yard dash. Yeah, that's a good point. And, that combine just started yesterday or end of February. Just watch his highlights. Dude broke defender's ankles. Oh, yeah? Zay Flowers highlights. Oh, okay. Uh-oh. You know what? Let's have a quick look. Let's have a quick look. Those 40 times boost draft stock, which is a good point, which is a very good point. Because here's the thing. We know we got DJ Moore. Terrace Marshall Jr., I think, is on the rise. If he can stay healthy, I think Terrace Marshall Jr. could be on the rise. Shy, not so sure. Oh, shoot. Caught a deep ball between two defenders. Okay. Okay. Dang. That was impressive. Okay. Oh yeah, catch him on those underneaths. Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Get him on those underneath routes, those unders. Yeah, yeah, I like that. Mr. Gemini says we're talking about getting a wide receiver, but we need a tight end more. We do need a tight end for sure, but Mr. Gemini, looking at our wide receiver core, are you satisfied with our wide receiver core? In all honesty, are you satisfied with our wide receiver core? I hope the Panthers can get Will Anderson or Andre Carter. Will Anderson is probably going to go to Chicago. Joe Valesco. I really think he's going to end up going early. I wonder what 40 time AR-15 will have. We will go after a tight end in free agency this year, more than likely. There are some good ones out there. Yeah. And apparently Eric Ebron apparently would love to come to Carolina. Eric Ebron, he wants to come to Carolina. I think I remember him posting on his social media or whatnot that he wants to come to Carolina. But yeah, this Zay Flowers looks like he shines really well on those underneath crossing routes. But he'll fight for a deep ball. Yeah, dude will fight for a deep ball. I will give him that. Joe Valesco says, I really like Andre Carter. Yeah. Mr. Gemini says, no, but we can find a wide receiver later in the draft, which is true. I mean, I think there's potential in our wide receiver core. I do. But there are some question marks. Like I said, I'm confident in DJ Moore. I mean, DJ is DJ. I mean, DJ's DJ. Like I said, Terrace Marshall Jr., I think, is on the rise if he can stay healthy. There was another thing I was thinking about. Shy Smith, I just don't know anymore. I like Shy Smith, but I don't know anymore. I don't know. I don't know. Zay's a nightmare from the slot, and that's exactly what we need. Yeah. I feel like been kind of missing that void since we let go of Curtis Samuel, in all honesty. Quell Davis says, we need another Ted Ginn Jr. for a Super Bowl run. Well, while Ted Ginn Jr. was our main deep threat, Ted Ginn Jr. also had a good number of drops. So that's the only thing with that. That's how we got stuck with the bums we have now. And I had high hopes for Shy Smith, another late round pick. And I mean, let's see. This would be Shy going into his third season, I believe. How about Jaden Reed? What position is Jaden Reed? It's not a name I recognize. But I mean, I'm trying to think who we still have. So no Rashard Higgins is free agent. Andre Roberts free agent. So that means the rest of our wide receiver core looks like this currently. So the rest of our wide receiver core looks like this. DJ Moore, Terrace Marshall Jr., Shi Smith, Laviska Shenault, Preston Williams, CJ Saunders, Derek Wright. Yeah, we should definitely add to that wide receiver core. Oh, wide receiver. Oh, okay, gotcha. But yeah, we definitely need to look at the wide receiver core. We need at least a wide receiver and a tight end. Yes, yeah. All right, Vietnam. Thanks for coming back through. Good to see you. Our second round picks are going to be clutch. Oh yeah, we got 2 second round picks, don't we? If I remember correctly. Yeah, we got two second round picks, right? Yeah, we got 2 second round picks. That's what I thought. Mr. Gemini says, now that I think about it, we only have 2 wide receivers really. Only one, and that's DJ. I mean, he's our number one. For sure, DJ is our number one. So Dalton Kincaid is a walking 1,000 yards game changer. Ooh, that's bold. Dalton Kincaid, tight end out of Utah. Well, the dude, 70 catches, 890 yards receiving, 8 touchdowns. Dang. Okay. Dang. Robert Woods is probably a good option. Robert Woods, another name that was talked about. Let's actually look at free agent. I'm curious. Let me look at free agent wide receivers. Free agent wide receivers. Like I said, the names that stick out, I mean, there's Robert Woods, Juju Smith-Schuster, I think is a name that might be in the mist. I don't know, but Juju Smith-Schuster, Nelson Aguilar, nah. But I mean, I don't know. I think Juju might be a name to look at. I mean, the dude's 26. I mean, he's another young guy. Quill Davis says, how do you feel about Matt Corral? So, number one, I do feel that he deserves a chance to compete. The only thing is his health is going to be a big question mark because he is coming off of Liz Frank foot injury, which are not easy to come back from. So that's really one of the big questions for Matt Corral is, will he be healthy again? Because a Liz Frank injury, I mean, Cam Newton had it, and we never really got to see Cam Newton at his best again since that injury. So yeah, that has me a little concerned, Quell Davis. He deserves an opportunity to compete for that starting quarterback position. I do agree with that. But his health is a concern. His health will be a concern. We'll have to see how that foot feels. Because Coach Frank Reich isn't so sure he'll be ready for OTAs. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. But looking at, there's a lot of free agent wide receivers. I mean, he's a little older, but Marquise Goodman. And like I said, Robert Woods, Alan Lazard put up a lot of numbers with the Packers. Mr. Gemini says, if we get a veteran, then Corral ain't playing. Well, it's possible, but I don't know. Anything can happen, but more than likely, if we get a veteran, he'll be the bridge. But I don't know. It's possible. It could go either way. It's possible, but unless he has to go in because of injury or something. And then again, we didn't see much of him in preseason because he got hurt. So that's why I feel like, I could see him having a chance. Not only that, say if we were to re-sign Sam Darnold, I'm not so sure by default Sam Darnold automatically beats out Matt Corral. I could see if it was like a Derek Carr, then it's obvious it's going to be Derek Carr. But you know what? If we were to re-sign Sam Darnold, I'm not so sure he starts by default. I don't know. I think they're going to compete. But hey, I could be wrong. Mr. Gemini says, should we get Paris Campbell? Paris Campbell. Wide receiver, played with Indy recently. Paris Campbell. 25 years old. Oh, crap, I misspelled his name. Okay. Did a little something, 63 catches, 623 yards, 3 touchdowns. Sounds like he's done a little something. Played full 17 games last season. Had his best season of his career. He's deserving of an opportunity. I mean, going from playing 7 games to 2 games to 6 games to all 17 games, I mean, that's improvement. That's definitely improvement. So I mean, there's quite a lot to look at. But oh man, just looking at a lot of these articles. Not only that, so it looks like there's going to be another meeting with Derek Carr on Monday. But I don't know. Carolina Pride says, Thomas Davis said we should mortgage the future and trade up to number 1. Whew. Mortgage the future and trade up to number 1. Ooh. That's going to hurt. But we get our guy. The interesting thing, Scott Fitterer's press conference, as far as the needs, he mentioned tight end, another receiver. It looks like they like the O-line and they're working on talks with Bradley Bozeman. So hopefully can cut a deal with Bradley Bozeman. If not, franchise tag him. Speed at linebacker would be 1, depending on how you're going to play Jeremy Chin. Maybe another safety. But quarterback is the biggest thing, though. So Mr. Fitterer mentioned tight end, another receiver. Likes the O-line. Speed at linebacker. Maybe another safety. But quarterback, top of the list. So, I mean, that's a fair breakdown. That's a fair breakdown. But I don't know. Some are saying that Carolina's leaning towards getting Derek Carr, but I just think he'll cost too much. But if he takes a big pay cut, I'll be very surprised. I'll be extremely surprised. Mr. Gemini says we need another cornerback also. This is true, especially considering the state of the roster with Dante Jackson. And even you have to also think about J.C. Horn as well. I mean, could J.C. Horn possibly end up being injury prone? It's a scary thought, but we got to think about it. We gotta think about it. But our cornerback room is still pretty much there. The only cornerback that was a free agent is T.J. Carey. Yeah, that's it. And then if we look at the roster when it comes to cornerback room, C.J. Henderson, J.C. Horn, Dante Jackson, Keith Taylor Jr. Oh yeah, do we still have Miles? Miles? Oh no, he's a restricted free agent. Never mind. Yeah, definitely use another big name at cornerback for sure. Carolina Pride says, look at it like this. If we get a vet and it doesn't work, he is fired. If he's traded up and it doesn't work, he's fired. So just go all in, get our franchise quarterback. You can win with subpar defense, but you can't win with subpar quarterback play. I don't know. Nowadays, what was the famous saying? Defense wins championships. Is that no longer true? Is that no longer true? Because that used to be the saying for the longest time. Defense wins championships. But might be something to revisit. Carolina Prize says, nope, got to put up 35 to win. And nowadays, with this being a passing league, this is definitely transformed into a passing league. I mean, Carolina Pride makes a point there. Definitely makes a point there. And we definitely didn't have an offense that was able to put up 30 points consistently or anywhere close to that consistently. So, hey. But I think mainly they got to go in on getting a franchise quarterback because we haven't had one since Cam. So I'm more leaning towards franchise quarterback just based off of that. Just based off of that. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. You know, the combine started. So with that being said, let me look at these other dates. So wait a minute. So the combine started, the scouting combine, and that's from February 28th to March 6th. So that goes into next week. Or actually, no, the 6th is next month, this coming Monday. Imagine the Stroud jersey sales and ticket sales. Yeah, it would go up like crazy for sure. March 7th, deadline for clubs to designate franchise or transition players. So, I mean, they got to make a decision about like Deonta Foreman or Bradley Bozeman. I think if anybody, I could see Bradley Bozeman. If they have to use the franchise tag, it's probably going to be on him. And then free agency, March 13th through 15th, which free agency, or no, that's when the clubs are permitted to contact and enter into contract negotiations. So that's where negotiations can start. And then March 15th, 4 p.m., the start of the 2023 league year, which means all 2022 player contracts expire and clubs can start signing new free agents and making trades. '26th through the 29th, they have an NFL annual meeting. April 3rd, clubs that hired a new head coach after the 2022 season can begin off-season workouts, which includes us. And then the 17th, clubs with returning head coaches can begin workout. And then the 27th through the 29th, NFL draft. So we got a lot to look forward to. We just arrived at the month of March. So, it's getting interesting, y'all. It's getting really, really interesting. But I'm excited. I'm looking forward to seeing how things turn out. But get hyped. That's all I can say is get hyped. The coaching staff is set. Hopefully the players will be set as well. But we'll see what happens. But I think I'm going to go ahead and sign off for tonight. But wow, great turnout, y'all. Thank y'all so much for everybody coming through. Thank you for the likes as well. And once again, I want to remind everybody, if you're interested, check out the link to Game Beauty for the impressive lineup of video game themed makeup and cosmetics. If you're interested in making a purchase, use the promo code BlitzballChamp, all in caps, for 10% off of your order. Aside from that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Mr. Gemini says, why does the NFL draft take so long to come, but the NBA draft is like 2 weeks after the season ends? You know what? That's a good question. But then again, I really don't understand how the NBA draft works, to be honest with you. So I don't have an answer for that. I have no idea. But that's a really good question, though. It's a really good question. I wish I knew, but yeah, really good question. But yeah, keep pounding. We're going to get through this, but get hyped, y'all. I think this is going to be, I'll say this. I think this is going to be a season where things start turning around. We got close last season, but I really think we're going to take it up a notch this season. We finished 7-10, improvement over the last couple of seasons, but I think we're going to turn it up a notch this upcoming 2023 season. I really feel that in my gut. I really do. Hopefully, like, things are falling into place, but I think the turnaround is really going to begin. I really do. I really do. I'm out, though. See you next time, and I agree. Keep pounding. Appreciate it, Mr. Gemini. Thank you for coming by, and thank you to everybody for coming through. Carolina Pride, good to see you. Joe Valesco. Quell Davis, thank you for coming through and subscribing. Kevin McFarland, Vietnam, always good to see y'all. Jeffrey Haverskos, good to see you. And yeah, thank y'all for all the love and support. I will see y'all in the next video for another Carolina Panthers live stream brought to you by Blitzball Champ Gaming here on the U to the Tube. I am your host, Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram. God bless. Love y'all. See y'all next time. Stay safe. Peace.